So I finally got all the pieces. The GeForce GTX graphics card right there was the last piece of my new custom built gaming, live streaming, basically do everything computer. So I kind of want to show you guys what I put in it, why I did that, so you kind of maybe get a better idea if you're also looking into building your own computer. So I guess the first thing to start with is just the case itself. This is a full case, mainly because of the motherboard size. It is quite large. This is the Cooler Master HAFX. I will post links to kind of show you the products that I chose. With this particular unit, it comes with lots of fans. So you got your stock 200 mil up here. It's still in this vent. This one allows you to expand to another one if you want. There is no fan here. You got a red LED fan here which goes over the hard drives. You got a rear 140 mil fan right here. And then on the bottom, vents are open with a mesh covering for the power supply block down here as well. Now the case features some external water tubings back here. Plenty of expansion for all your graphics card or other PCI devices. It has mounts on here for your power supply, little rubber mounts. They're small, subtle, but they're kind of nice. Also this kind of plastic kind of covering all the nasty wiring here. Hot swappable bays. We got bays here. We got my hard drive, my SSD, and these, all they do is simply just slide out. Very quick, very easy. These are push to release drive bays. So you just push, slide the unit out, push again to lock it in. Nice and easy. On the other side, I got my one panel off. The other panel also features another fan in. This thing's huge, does have a mount, and also a mesh on it for some anti-dust. In the front of the case, just a sliding power button. These do remove out. And then this is just your LED. 2 USB 3s, eSATA, Firewire, 2 USB 2s, a mic and a headphone, LED and a reset button. So pretty standard when it comes to the connectors. Now the guts, the good stuff about the computer. So let's start off with the bottom area. So this is a 1200 watt power supply, Antec Gold Pro series. Might be a little overkill, but eventually I'll be running numerous graphics card and you want to have that wattage to power it. I already kind of showed you here for my hard drives. I have a 240 gig SSD, the Intel 520 series. Got it on a very good price. Big SSD. This is just going to be my storage hard drive. It's a 2 terabyte to store basically everything else. Up here, can't really see it in the front, is my Blu-ray reader and burner. Also it doubles as a DVD and CD burner. It is 8 times for Blu-ray writing, which is pretty quick for Blu-rays. Now in here I got a lot of stuff going on here, so I'll kind of take it piece by piece. Obviously the thing that kind of sticks out is the graphics card. You'll see my other video, I'll post a little link in it into the video, is the NVIDIA GeForce GTX Titan. This is the EVGA Signature Superclocked Edition, so it's been factory overclocked slightly. Graphics card has 2 DVI outputs, HDMI and a display port, 2688 CUDA cores, which is a lot, the most for any single GPU on the planet right now. And that's really the graphics card. I'll eventually have another one in this slot down here, probably maybe a year from now. The motherboard itself is the Asus Maximus Extreme 5 motherboard. It is an extended ATX board for the form factor, so it is a little bit bigger, which is why I went with the full case. You do notice lots of open space, good airflow through. This has been running non-stop for almost 2 weeks now, and this is a very dusty apartment. There's really no dust in it, which means I have good pressure, good flow of air, which is really, really important. Down here, they're all just peripheral connectors between the case and the USB headers. Power to the main board. For my RAM, I have 2 8 gig sticks, Corsair Vengeance. They are the 1600 megahertz just because they're the most stable. You can overclock them. You don't really have to. They're pretty decent RAM. That's just kind of for saying. The motherboard has over here Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, Thunderbolt, USB 3. We have 4 USB 3s, an HDMI out, DisplayPort, audio out, and then all 7.1 integrated surround sound into the board itself. Underneath this water block, this is the Corsair H100i CPU water block cooler. So these are very bendable, very malleable water tubes. It's an entirely closed system, so you don't have to worry about refilling it. I have set up a push-pull system, so I got air being pulled in and then air being pushed through. These are the included 220mm fans on the dual radiator mounted right up here, so it covers this entire space. So I got my 200mm pulling air through theirs to the radiator, and then this pushing out, and the other fans take that air and push it out the back. Very good, easy to install as long as you get the mounting bracket on the back properly. And the CPU that's underneath this beast that it's powering is the i7 3770K 3.5 gigahertz processor. A mean fighting machine, needless to say. Eventually I will overclock this because this water cooler keeps it idle about 28 degrees, which is pretty cool for an Intel processor, and overclocking might get up to about 60 or 70 degrees Celsius, which is getting up to the top tier for temperatures you want on your processor. Other noticeable things, I don't really want to show you, but I'll show you anyways. My cord management on this side looks great. The power supply can be both this way or upside down, depending on the way that you want it mounted. This case supports both of that. This is an overclock key. So this is part of the motherboard, the Republic of Gamers series motherboard. What this allows you to do is have a dedicated screen to monitor all your overclocking stats, temperatures, CPU fans, and on-the-fly tweaking. Kind of a nice feature. I just have it hanging through here because it connects onto this header down there. Lots of USB 3 connectors on the motherboard, which is great. I even have an open one here if I ever want to expand. That's always a good thing to kind of have. Now on the back, so needless to say, that's the business front. You will notice the case does feature 4 wheels. It's very handy for moving in and out. Cable management on the back is not so important because it's covered by this back panel, but just to kind of show you, this is the mounting bracket for the water cooler. Kind of a pain to put on, just because it's not fully shown in this panel because of the size of the motherboard, but I got it on there. And yeah, that's really the computer in a nutshell. So we got a Asus motherboard, we got Corsair Vengeance RAM. For the RAM, you will see some that have the heat spreaders on it. They're really just for show. You don't really need them. You pay kind of extra. Low profiles do allow for if you don't go the water way, for a larger CPU fan base unit to be on here. If you have a bigger RAM, sometimes the heat spreaders will kind of contact, so you can't use this first slot. You'll then have to move it down. Something just to keep in mind. I could dive into the features of the motherboard. I won't do that. Lots of different things, VGA hot wire heating, monitoring, but I won't bore you with that. So that's really the computer. It's loaded with Windows 7 Ultimate 64-bit. Windows 8 should not be on a gaming rig, ever. And that's really it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe at the top to see more videos.